Hello friends, so I am Amina ma'am, going to teach you biology over here. And so if we start with the topic of biology, we will be beginning with the first chapter, that is the living world. So let us talk about the chapter called living world. And living world is the first chapter of your 11th standard. So if we talk about living world, what do you mean by living? First of all, there are some attributes, there are some characteristic features which belongs to the living, which separates the living organisms from the non-living organism. And that is what we are going to talk in this chapter all about. So if I talk about, first of all, let us have some introductory part. Now here we are going to talk about the first word, as the subject we are going to study about is biology. So what do you mean by biology? You all might be knowing that it is the study of life. The scientific study of life is known as biology. So here we know that it is the scientific study of life. So when a living organism is studied scientifically, we are going to study in a topic called biology. Furthermore, who is known as the father of biology? So the father of biology is Aristotle. He is Aristotle. Further, if we talk about the branches of biology, so we know that there is one branch called zoology, in which we are going to study about the animals. And there is another main branch which we call it as botany, in which we are going to talk about the plants, the scientific study of plants. So here, if we talk about father of zoology, what is zoology? Zoology is a study of plants. Study of animals. The scientific study of animals is known as zoology. And even the father of zoology is itself Aristotle. Further, if we talk about father of botany, so what is botany? Botany is the scientific study of plants, and when we talk about scientific study of plants, it is known as botany, and the father of botany is known as Theophrastus. Remember these words. He is known as Theophrastus. So what are we going to study in this chapter all about? Here we are going to talk about certain characteristic features of living organisms. We know that whenever we talk about living organism, we classify them from the non-living organism. So there are certain characteristic features which particularly belongs to living organisms. So let us talk about the characteristic features of living organisms. So here we go with the characteristic features of living organisms. So these characteristic features are classified into two types, and what are those types? One is defining and the another one is a non-defining characteristic feature. So let us say that first of all we'll talk about the defining characteristics, and the second way we will be talking about the non-defining characteristic features. Non-defining characteristic features. So if we talk about the defining, what do you mean by defining? Defining characteristic features are those features, those which only belong to living organisms. So defining characteristic means what? They belong to living organisms only. So they will define the living organisms. They are the only unique characteristic features of living organisms. Whereas non-defining means what? It can belong to living organisms or it can belong to non-living organisms also. Not in all the cases, but it can belong to the non-living organisms also. So let us see which are the defining characteristic features of a living organisms. So the first, second and third. The first defining characteristic features of a living organism is known as metabolism. The second defining characteristics we'll be talking about is consciousness. So the second is the consciousness. And the third defining characteristics which we will be talking about is the cellular organization. So when we talk about the defining characteristic features, these are the metabolism, consciousness and cellular organizations that we will be seeing in the detail later on. Now what do you mean by the non-defining characteristic features? Non-defining means what? That can belong to the living organisms or that can belong to the non-living organisms also. So you can say that they can be included in both the things. So we call them as a not defining characteristics. In this, the first we will be talking about is growth, and the second we will be talking about is reproduction. Remember, reproduction is not about non-living organisms, but there are certain what we can say exemptions in the process in this particular characteristic features that make it as a non-defining characteristics. So when we talk about the non-defining characteristics, we will be talking about growth, and the second one will be the reproduction. Now we'll be talking about the first defining characteristic feature of living organism, and that is metabolism. So let us talk about metabolism. And we also know that metabolism is a defining characteristic of living organism. It is a defining characteristic feature of living organism. Now let us understand what is metabolism and what does it require. So what is metabolism? Metabolism is the biochemical reactions or the living chemical reaction that is taking place in living organism. So we will write over here it as it is a biochemical reactions. We can also call them as living reactions that is taking place in the living organism. Now, if you understand, what do you mean by biochemical reactions? Biochemical reactions are taking place in each and every living organism, whether it is unicellular or it is a multicellular. So if we talk about something like amoeba, a unicellular, or something like a human, which is a multicellular living organism, all the cell in it is performing a certain chemical reactions in which a biocatalyst is required. And what is a biocatalyst? That biocatalyst is enzymes. So here what is required? The requirement is enzymes. Enzymes are also known as biocatalyst. We know what is the meaning of catalyst. Catalyst is a chemical or it is a compound which fasters the reaction without getting involved into that reaction. And these are known as living catalysts. These are known as living catalysts, biocatalysts, because they are produced by the body themselves and they render reactions, the biochemical reactions, which we call it as metabolic reactions. Now, if we talk about metabolic reaction, if we talk about metabolism, let me tell you that metabolic reactions are classified into two types. The first one is catabolism. So that is catabolism. And the another one is known as anabolism. Or you can call it as anabolism and catabolism or catabolism and anabolism. So let us first understand what is meant by catabolism. Catabolism is like when something, a larger sized molecule, more size molecular weight molecule is broken down into small pieces, it is known as catabolism. So generally this is known as a destructive reaction. Destructive reaction means what? Something big is broken down into something small in the presence of enzyme. It is known as catabolism. So here we talk about catabolism. Catabolism means what? Something is breaking down. Means what? Something is broken down into fragments. So something is breaking. So if you talk about a large molecule, or instead of large molecule, if I write macromolecules are broken down into micromolecules. We can say in the presence of enzymes, then that is what you call it as catabolism. And the example for the catabolism here, we can write it as the respiration. Okay, so we can write here as an example respiration. So what is that respiration? You know that glucose is broken down, and what do we get? We get ATP from it. So when the glucose is broken down in the presence of oxygen, we get energy from that. So breaking down of glucose is considered as a catabolic reaction. So here we can say, and that is also what you call it as respiration. So this is about the catabolic reactions. The other side we'll be talking about is the anabolic reaction. What is anabolic reaction? Anabolic reaction means what? When something is produced. So if we talk this as a destructive reaction, I'll mention over here that this is a destructive reaction. Destructive reaction is like breaking out something. Whereas this anabolism is a constructive. Constructive means what? Something is being prepared, something is being made. So this is what you call it as anabolic reactions. So produced, or we can say that when, like we'll take an example of photosynthesis. Example is photosynthesis. Now why do we call photosynthesis as an anabolic reactions? We call it as anabolic reactions because we know that carbon dioxide, water is getting combined and it is forming something called glucose. So something is formed, something is constructed, and that is what you call it as anabolism. So anabolism is like, we can write it as a constructive reactions. So both together, if we talk about catabolism, if we talk about anabolism, so anabolism plus catabolism or catabolism plus anabolism together makes a reaction, what you call it as a metabolism. Furthermore, if there is more catabolism in our body, if we talk about, let's have an example. Suppose that if this reaction is taking place more, let's say that catabolism is more. So what will happen if catabolism is more? More and more things will be broken down in the body, and that will result into wear and tear. So remember that if the ratio of catabolism is more than anabolism, then the body will undergo breaking or the destructive reactions, or we can say it as wear and tear. So if the catabolism is more, what will take place? The condition that is taking place is wear and tear. And this wear and tear is taking place when we are getting aged. जब हम हमारी एज बढ़ने लगती है तब हमारी बॉडी में ज़्यादा wear and tear होने लगता है. अगर हम बायोलॉजिकली कहें तो कौन सी रिएक्शंस हो रही है वो रिएक्शन जिसका नाम है catabolism. So catabolism is a reaction which is responsible for wear and tear in the body. Secondly, this wear and tear causes aging, or we can also call it as senescence. On the other side, अगर anabolism ज़्यादा अमाउंट में हो रहा है, let's say कि anabolism is increasing in our body, so what will happen? It is going to make our body, it is going to build our body. So whenever there is anabolism, whenever there is more anabolism or the ratio of anabolism is more than catabolism, what is occurring? It results into a condition called growth. So it is something very simple to understand that when there is a catabolism, that results into an aging process. If we call about anabolism, that will result into the growth process. Anyways, together catabolism and anabolism constitute a reaction which is a defining property of living organism, and that is what you call it as metabolism. Now let us understand metabolism in detail. Like, as we know that, what is metabolic reaction? Let us take an example. Let's say we have taken an example of a starch. Now when we eat starch, let's say we have eaten potato or we have taken up what you can say French fries. You know that it is constituting of starch. So starch is getting digested in the presence of enzyme amylase into maltose. This is the reaction that is taking place in our mouth. Okay, so starch is getting converted into maltose in the presence of enzyme called salivary amylase. We also call it as styrene. Now, can we demonstrate the same reaction in a lab? Yes, of course. So, this same reaction can be done in vitro. In vitro means what? In lab. Now this is taking place in our body. So if it is taking place in the body, it is known as in vivo. It is known as in vivo. Whereas if it is taking place in lab, there is a particular word that is mentioned in your textbook, and that's what you call it as in vitro. What do you call it as? In vitro. Okay. So same reaction, let us say that I have taken a test tube and I have taken starch inside it, and I am adding amylase in that. So what will happen? This reaction is actually an artificial reaction, right? It is a non-living because it is getting demonstrated. But these amylase will itself digest this starch into maltose. So yes, of course, you can demonstrate the metabolic reactions in the lab. So it is what you can call it as, it is a cell-free reaction. Cell-free reaction means what? It is not taking place in the living organism, but it is itself a living reaction because the amylase is itself digesting the starch into maltose. So you can say that this reaction is taking place in a cell-free system. Cell-free system means what? It is not taking place in the cell, but it is taking itself. Like suppose as soon as I have added amylase, what is it going to do? It is going to digest the starch into maltose. So this is an example of living reaction. So this is an example of living reaction taking place in the cell-free system. So this is about the metabolism. Here we'll be talking about the second characteristic feature of living organism, and that is the defining characteristic feature. We call it as consciousness. Okay, so let us talk about the second characteristic feature, and that is what you call it as consciousness. Now what do you mean by consciousness? Consciousness means what? Awareness. Awareness means what? Response to the stimulus. Yes, of course. Every living organism in this world is responding towards the stimulus which is imparted. Maybe in the form of light, maybe in the form of temperature, maybe anything. So we can say that every living organism on this earth, or you can say that stimulus. So what is a stimuli? First of all, stimuli is any external factor. Any external factor. It can be temperature. It can be light. There can be internal stimulus as well. Okay. So stimuli is whenever is given to the living organism responses. And these response is what you call it as consciousness, because we are aware of our surrounding. And it is believed that human is the most conscious, human is the most aware, self-aware animal prevailing in this world. Okay. So, if we talk about this, the living organism responses. Now let us take some example. Now we know that we have learned, you might be knowing about this photoperiodism. Now what do you mean by photoperiodism? It's the amount of light particularly responded by the plants. So the amount of light required by the plants to produce flower is known as a photoperiodism. We know that some plants are long day plants, some plants are short day plants. So how do they do this? They respond to the light. The amount of light which is required by them is really specific, and only in that particular range of light is what they are going to respond. So we can say that this is a photoperiodism. Photoperiodism is what? The amount of light required. You can say amount, you can say intensity, you can say duration of light required by plants to produce flower. So this is a simple example of, you can say, consciousness. Yes, the plants are aware this much of light, then and only then it is going to produce a flower. If the light amount is less, some other plants will produce a flower. That is what you call it as a short day plant. Okay. When? So this is about the periodism. Then there are some animals which are known as seasonal breeders. Now what do you mean by seasonal breeder? Some birds will lay eggs in particular season only because that particular temperature, that particular season is suitable. So that particular temperature, that particular environmental conditions are suitable for that bird to lay egg. So that is what we can say, it is a response to the environment. We always respond to the environment. So other example are seasonal breeders. Means what? Some particular animals or some particular birds will produce baby in a particular season only. So this is what is the response to the environment. Furthermore, we can say that consciousness is getting aware. So what about the brain dead animal? Like suppose if there is a person who is a brain dead, is he a living or a non-living? As I said, all the voluntary and involuntary functions have been taking place. We can say that yes, I am conscious. Let's say मैं कहती हूँ कि मैं conscious हूँ, मैं देख सकती हूँ, मैं चल फिर सकती हूँ, मैं बोल सकती हूँ. मेरा हर नेगेटिव मतलब हर what you can say environmental factors को मैं response कर रही हूँ. लेकिन suddenly अगर मेरा brain has stopped working, let's say my brain has stopped working, can I say I am dead? No, I am considered as brain dead but not yet dead. So if you feel that a brain dead person, let's say there is a brain dead person, so brain dead person is not conscious about the surrounding, so how can we say that it is a living organism? So but in brain dead person, you know that though the brain is not working, the voluntary functions are not working, but still वो breathe कर रहा है, वो heartbeat उसकी चल रही है. So there are some involuntary functions which are going on and he or she is still conscious about that thing. So you can say that even though if you take brain dead person, we know that it is the involuntary actions that are still going on in the body. तो इनवॉलंटरी एक्शंस तो चल ही रहा है, मतलब वो ऑक्सीजन को अंदर ले रहा है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड को बाहर कर रहा है, मतलब वो कॉन्स्टेंटली एनवायरनमेंट के साथ इंटरैक्ट कर रहा है. So we can say that brain dead is just we can say a paralyzed person, but वो उसके surrounding को conscious है. So we can say that the consciousness is a defining property of a living organism. So we can say that it is a defining property of a living organism. Now we'll be talking about the third defining property of living organism, and the third defining property of living organism is what? It is known as cellular organization. So let us talk about the third defining property, and we call it as cellular organization. What do you mean by cellular organization? You might have studied in the previous classes that the cell combines and forms tissue, tissue combine and form what you can say organs, organs combines and forms organ system. So basically this is what you call it as cellular organization. So whether any living organism, whether it is a unicellular one or it is a multicellular one, remember that it is composed of a cell at least. So if we talk about what is mean by cellular organization, जैसे कि स्कूल भी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होता है, लाइक उसमें अलग अलग चीजें कंबाइन हो के पूरा इंस्टीट्यूट खड़ा होता है, तो वैसे when we talk about living organism, अलग अलग we can say that अलग अलग components combine हो के पूरा एक cellular organization बनता है, and that is naturally needed for every living organisms to be alive, to remain alive, whether it is a unicellular or it is a multicellular. So let us talk about that. Now, if we talk about that, we know that there are certain molecules. We generally call them as biomolecules. So अगर हम biomolecules की बात करें तो जैसे कि fats है, proteins है, फिर starch है, मतलब carbohydrates है. Okay, so all these things are known as biomolecules, or you can say DNA, or you can say RNA, or you can say nucleic acids. All these things are what? All these things are biomolecules. When these different biomolecules combine, they form cell organelles. Now what do you mean by the cell organelles? Cell organelles क्या होती है? We have studied in the previous classes. They are, you can say that they are something like mitochondria, chloroplast, lysosome, etc. etc. So ये सब जो बायोमोलिक्यूल्स है उसके ही कॉम्बिनेशन से बनती है सेल ऑर्गेनल्स. सेल ऑर्गेनल्स जब डिफरेंट कंबाइन होती है तो इट फॉर्म्स अ सेल. So it forms a cell. Then cell combines and form tissue. Different kinds of different or same kind of cell combines to perform the function, to perform the same function. What does it forms? It forms tissues. So here it forms tissue. फिर tissue different combines होके क्या बनाता है? It forms organs. Like we can say that अगर हम heart की बात करें तो it is made up of cardiac tissue. अगर हम hand की बात करें तो it is made up of muscle tissue. So we can say that different tissues combines and forms organs. Different organ combines and forms organ systems. Like if you talk about arteries, veins, heart, right, like different blood vessels, all they combine and what do they form? They form the circulatory system. Like another example of a system is what you can say is digestive system, जिसमें हम कह सकते हैं mouth होता है, esophagus होता है, stomach होता है, intestine होता है, small intestine, large intestine. All this get combined and what does it form? It forms your digestive system. So you can say that different kinds of organ will combine and form organ system. And further, different organ system will form a individual living organism. तो अगर हम इस इंडिविजुअल लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म की बात करें तो ये है मल्टी सेलुलर, और हम यहाँ पे बात करें एक सेल, तो इसका भी एक लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म हो सकता है. जब हम क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ एनिमल किंगडम पढ़ेंगे उस टाइम पे हम देखेंगे कि कितने लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म ऐसे भी हैं जिनकी बॉडी सिर्फ एक सेल की बनी है, कितनी है जिनकी टिश्यू लेवल की बॉडी है, कितने हैं जिनकी ऑर्गन लेवल की बॉडी है, और कितने हैं जिनकी ऑर्गन सिस्टम लेवल की बॉडी है. ऑर्गन सिस्टम जैसे कि हमारी बॉडी है. तो अल्टीमेटली वी कैन से दैट द होल लिविंग वर्ल्ड इज ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बिकॉज दैट इज the fundamental unit, that is because of the fundamental unit and we call it as cell. So अगर cell है तभी life है, it is believed that, okay, अगर cell है तभी life है. So you can say, we also know that the cell is like a bacterial cell, we know that it is living, so it is anaerobic. If we talk about human cell, yes it is living. If we talk about plant cell, yes it is living. किसमें cellular organization नहीं है? तो वी नो दैट वायरस को सेल्यूलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं है, वो एसेल्यूलर है. सो लेट अस टेक एन एग्जांपल ओवर हियर फॉर वायरसेस. वायरसेस आर द एसेल्यूलर कंपोनेंट्स. तो क्या वायरसेस लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स हुए? नो. वायरसेस अगर सेल से नहीं बने हैं तो वायरसेस लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स नहीं है. सो वायरसेस इज व्हाट एक्चुअली? वायरसेस यू कैन से दैट इट इज अ नॉन लिविंग एंटाइटी. जब वो बाहर होते हैं, मतलब बॉडी के बाहर होते हैं वायरसेस, तो वो डेड होते हैं, और जैसे ही बॉडी के अंदर जाते हैं वो लिविंग हो जाते हैं. मतलब वी कैन से दैट अभी तक हम वो आज तक क्लियर नहीं कर पाए कि वेदर दे आर लिविंग और दे आर नॉन लिविंग. सो वायरसेस आर अ काइंड, दे आर एसेल्यूलर, दे आर नोन एज लिविंग केमिकल्स. ओके, दे आर नोन एज लिविंग केमिकल्स. सो हम वायरसेस को लिविंग कंसिडर नहीं करते, बल्कि हम ऐसे केमिकल्स मानते हैं कि जो लिविंग है, क्योंकि वो बॉडी के बाहर डेड होते हैं और बॉडी के अंदर वो दे स्टार्ट लिविंग और दे स्टार्ट रिप्रोड्यूसिंग. सो वायरसेस आर नॉट कंसिडर्ड बेसिकली एज अ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म. क्यों? क्योंकि वो सेल के नहीं बने, और जो कुछ भी चीजें सेल की बनी है वो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म है. एंड हेंस इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि सेल्यूलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बॉडी का एक डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी है. अगर कोई चीज नॉन लिविंग है तो उसमें सेल्यूलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं होता. So we can say that there are three defining properties of living organism. The first we described was metabolism. The second which we described was consciousness or awareness or response to the environment. And the third we defined or we understood is known as the cellular organization. Now we will be discussing about the non-defining properties of living organisms. So let us begin with now we'll be talking about the non-defining properties. Now what do you mean by non-defining properties? So non-defining properties are those properties which can belong to or which can we can say explain a part of living organism, not totally. So we generally call them as a non-defining properties. So now let us start with the non-defining properties. So in non-defining properties we will be talking about first point, and that is what you call it as growth. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय ग्रोथ? ग्रोथ का मतलब होता है बढ़ना, मतलब साइज में बढ़ना, शेप में बढ़ना, लेंथ में बढ़ना, वेट में बढ़ना, तो उसे हम कहते हैं ग्रोथ. सो ग्रोथ इज व्हाट? ग्रोथ इज अ irreversible phenomena of increase in size, increase in weight, etc., etc. So of increase in size, weight, height, etc. तो इसे हम कहते हैं ग्रोथ. अब अगर हम कहें कि क्या सिर्फ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म ही ग्रो होते हैं या नॉन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी ग्रो होते हैं, तो आइडियली हमें ऐसा लगता है कि ओनली लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स ग्रो. तो हम समझते हैं कि सिर्फ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म ही अगर ग्रो हो रहे हैं तो ये डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी होना चाहिए. सो अगर हम लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म की ग्रोथ की बात करते हैं, बिकॉज हम अभी लिविंग वर्ड पढ़ रहे हैं, तो लेट अस टॉक अबाउट कि लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म. ओके, तो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म के ग्रोथ के लिए हमें कौन सा फैक्टर जरूरी है? वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट. The process which is required for the growth of living organism is cell division. What is it required is cell division. So अगर एक एग्जाम्पल ले कि मेरी लाइफ कहाँ से स्टार्ट हुई थी, तो लेट अस से जैसे ही डैड का स्पर्म और मॉम का ओवा फ्यूज हुआ और एक जाइगोट सा बन गया था. जाइगोट क्या था? यूनिसेलुलर था. तो जाइगोट ने कंप्लीटली सेल डिवीजन करता गया और फिर बाद में एक मल्टी सेलुलर बॉडी बना दिया, एंड दैट इज हाउ वी ऑल आर फॉर्म. सो बेसिकली अगर हम ग्रोथ की बात करें तो सेल डिवीजन जरूरी है, राइट? तो और सेल, जैसे कि ये एक जाइगोट है, लेट्स से दिस इज अ जाइगोट. तो ये जाइगोट क्या होता है? दिस गोज कंटिन्यूअसली डिवाइड होता है और ये बना देता है एक living organism. Let's say this is a small baby, right? So somehow it is forming a baby. So we can say that zygote में से baby बना, उसका growth हुआ, कैसे हुआ? Cell divide हुआ. So अगर हम इंडिविजुअल की ग्रोथ की बात कर रहे हैं, लिविंग इंडिविजुअल की ग्रोथ की बात कर रहे हैं, तो वो अंदर से होता है. ऐसे तो नहीं है ना कि लेट्स से दिस इज अ स्मॉल बेबी, लेट्स से ये कोई बंदा है, ओके, and after certain ages this will grow. तो ये ग्रो कैसे हुआ? Let's say भाई ये चिंटू है, okay? If this चिंटू is a small baby right now, it is growing after certain ages. ये कैसे ग्रो होगा? इसका सेल अंदर से डिवाइड हो रहा है. उसकी मम्मी उसको बाहर से तो सेल नहीं लगा के दे रही है, राइट? सो इसकी जो ग्रोथ हो रही है वो अंदर से हो रही है. सो दैट काइंड ऑफ ग्रोथ. सो हियर क्या हो रहा है भाई? Here it is taking place is the cell division. And what kind of growth is this? This is a growth, we call it as intrinsic growth. Now what do you mean by intrinsic growth? कोई भी ग्रोथ अगर अंदर से हो रहा है, इंटरनली हो रहा है, अंदर से सेल निकल रहे हैं, तो that is what you call it as intrinsic growth or internal growth. So our growth, when we talk about living organism, there is a growth which you call it as intrinsic growth. So अगर intrinsic growth कहा गया है तो वो defining property है. लेकिन दूसरी तरफ हम बात करें, क्या नॉन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स ग्रो होते हैं? Yes, they grow. तो अब यहाँ पे हम बात करते हैं नॉन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स की. So how does non-living organisms grow? The non-living organisms will grow, जैसे कि if we are taking one rock or a boulder or हमने एक rock लिया, हमने उसको throw किया, तो you know that उसकी fragments हो जाएगी, उसके pieces हो जाएंगे, मतलब वो divide होगा. But क्या वो still अगर वो टूट के divide हो रहा है पर numbers में बढ़ रहा है क्या, लेकिन वो living है? वो living नहीं है, right? So अगर हम यहाँ पे देखें कि rocks और boulders whenever they are being like thrown with a force, or they may undergo into friction and gets broken down into pieces, into one or more many pieces, but does that mean that they are living? No, they are not living. But इनका कैसा है? एक्सट्रिंसिक है, वो बाहर से उनको फोर्स लग रहा है. दूसरा माउंटेन्स का हम एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हैं कि भाई सैंड का एक माउंटेन्स है, ठीक है, लेट्स से दिस इज अ सैंड माउंटेन, ओके. अब इसके ऊपर जा जाके रेत जमा हो रहा है, रेत से इसके ऊपर ये सैंड जमा हो रहा है और माउंटेन की साइज क्या हो रही है, ग्रो हो रही है। तो माउंटेन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म हुआ नहीं, माउंटेन तो नॉन लिविंग है। सो द थिंग्स आर गेटिंग अक्यूमुलेटेड ऑन द सरफेस, ऊपर से जाके कुछ उसके ऊपर डिपॉजिट हो रहा है, और इस काइंड ऑफ ग्रोथ को हम क्या कहेंगे, दिस टाइप ऑफ ग्रोथ इज नोन एज एक्सट्रिंसिक ग्रोथ। एक्सट्रिंसिक मतलब कुछ बाहर से एक्सटर्नली उसके ऊपर जाके अगर लग रहा है तो इट इज नोन एज एक्सट्रिंसिक ग्रोथ। और अगर हम हमारी ग्रोथ की बात करें तो हमारी ग्रोथ कैसी हुई है, इंट्रिंसिक। सो अगर हम इंट्रिंसिक ग्रोथ की बात करते हैं तो वो डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी है, लेकिन एक्सट्रिंसिक ग्रोथ डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी नहीं है। इसी वजह से हम ग्रोथ को डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी नहीं लेते हैं। We take it as a non-defining property because even the non-living organisms also grow. Now we talk about the next property which is a non-defining property of living organism, and here we go with the topic that is reproduction. Now what is reproduction? You all might be knowing the definition. So reproduction is what? To produce the young one of its own kind. This is what you call it as reproduction. कि अगर like let's take an example of an elephant. Elephant अगर बच्चा देगा तो वो गधा तो नहीं होगा naturally, या तो फिर वो मुर्गी तो नहीं होगी naturally. तो अगर जब भी आप reproduction की definition देते हो तो remember this line, to produce a young one of its own kind. ऑफ इट्स ओन काइंड का मतलब क्या होता है कि वो उसका ही टाइप का हो, तो उसे हम कहते हैं रिप्रोडक्शन। लाइक ह्यूमन इज गोइंग टू गिव बर्थ टू ह्यूमन ओनली नेचुरली, नॉट टू monkeys. So that is what you call it as reproduction. Reproduction means giving birth to a young one of its own kind. तो इसे हम कहते हैं रिप्रोडक्शन। अब रिप्रोडक्शन को हम क्लासिफाई करते हैं दो टाइप्स में। लेट्स से reproduction is basically classified into two types. What is that types? So the first one is the sexual reproduction and the next one is the asexual reproduction. Now what do you mean by sexual reproduction? Sexual reproduction का मतलब होता है जिसमें दो individuals की जरूरत पड़े. Like you can say there is one a male and the another one is a female. So when two individuals of opposite gender are required, it is known as asexual reproduction. Remember opposite gender, because a male and male cannot reproduce and a female cannot reproduce. So when two individuals of opposite gender is required, it is known as a sexual reproduction. Then you can say that here two different gametes are also required. Two different gametes are also required. Like one should be the male gamete and the another one should be the female gamete. So two different gametes are required. The next is what? Whenever you get the offspring, like suppose I am the offspring of my parents, right? Why do we call us as offspring? क्योंकि हम दो के फ्यूजन से बने हुए लोग हैं। तो it's like I am the fusion of my mom and my dad, so I am called their offspring. So इसका जो child होता है, इसका जो young one होता है, उसे हम क्या कहते हैं, offspring. Whereas जब हम asexual reproduction की बात करते हैं, तो asexual reproduction is generally considered as uniparental. जैसे इसमें हमने कहा ना टू इंडिविजुअल, सो इट इज बाइपेरेंटल, इसमें दो पेरेंट्स की जरूरत पड़ती है। Whereas this is a uniparental. What do you mean by uniparental? When only one parent is enough to produce a baby, it is known as uniparental. Next, here you can say gametes may or may not be involved. ये थोड़ा आपको अजीब लगेगा, बट येस इट इज ट्रू, क्योंकि आज तक आप एक ही चीज पढ़ के आए हो कि gametes are not involved in asexual reproduction. But when we talk about parthenogenesis, parthenogenesis is what? A process of asexual reproduction from gametes without fertilization. तो अगर fertilization हुए बिना फ्रूट बन रहा है या कुछ यांगुन बन रहा है, तो दैट इज व्हाट यू कॉल इट एज पार्थेनोजेनेसिस या तो फिर पार्थेनोकार्पी। अगर हम प्लांट्स का कहें तो पार्थेनोकार्पी कहेंगे, अगर हम एनिमल्स का कहें तो पार्थेनोजेनेसिस कहेंगे। उसमें गैमेट्स इन्वॉल्व होता है लेकिन फर्टिलाइजेशन नहीं हो रहा है। ओके, और बाकी तो हमें पता ही है कि एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन में गैमेट्स की कोई जरूरत नहीं होती। सो इसमें यूनिपेरेंटल कंडीशन होती है। नेक्स्टली इनका जो बेबी होता है दैट इज व्हाट यू कॉल इट एज क्लोन। नाउ व्हाट इज क्लोन? क्लोन इज द वन व्हिच इज एग्जैक्टली सिमिलर टू द पेरेंट। जैसे कि इफ आई एम टेकिंग एग्जांपल ऑफ अमीबा, वी नो दैट अमीबा इज अ यूनिसेलुलर लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म, और अगर अमीबा बाइनरी फिशन करता है या फिर सेल डिवाइड करता है, ठीक है, तो इट विल रिजल्ट इनटू 2 डॉटर सेल्स। कैन वी से 2 डॉटर अमीबे? ओके, तो यहाँ क्या हुआ, ये जो डॉटर अमीबे है दिस इज जेनेटिकली एंड मॉर्फोलॉजिकली एग्जैक्टली सिमिलर टू द पेरेंट वन। तो क्लोन क्या हुआ? द क्लोन इज जेनेटिकली कि उसके जीन्स और उसका मॉर्फोलॉजी, मॉर्फोलॉजी मतलब आउटर अपीयरेंस, सो जेनेटिकली एंड मॉर्फोलॉजिकली सेम टू द प्रीवियस जनरेशन, मतलब वो और उसके पेरेंट्स बिल्कुल सेम है, कोई डिफरेंसेस ही नहीं है उनमें, जीन्स भी सेम है और उनका अपीयरेंस भी सेम है। तो उस टाइप के जो यंगविंस होते हैं उसे हम क्लोन्स कहते हैं। क्या हम अपने आप को क्लोन्स कह सकते हैं? नहीं, क्योंकि हम थोड़े बहुत एक पेरेंट जैसे दिखते हैं, थोड़े बहुत दूसरे पेरेंट जैसे दिखते हैं, क्योंकि हम दोनों का मिक्सचर होते हैं। हम 2 पेरेंट्स से बने हुए हैं, इसलिए हम ऑफस्प्रिंग्स हैं। जो भी बच्चा एक ही सिंगल पेरेंट होता है, जैसे कि एज आई गिवन यू द एग्जांपल ऑफ अमीबा ओवर हियर, यू कैन से दैट 2 डॉटर सेल्स आर फॉर्म व्हिच इज एग्जैक्टली सिमिलर। तो यहाँ पे हम इनको क्या कहेंगे? वी विल बी कॉलिंग देम एज अ क्लोन्स, वी विल बी कॉलिंग देम एज अ क्लोन्स। और दूसरी एक बात, क्या हम यहाँ कह सकते हैं कि अमीबा ने रिप्रोड्यूस किया है बाइनरी फिशन से? सेल डिवाइड हुआ है, और सेल डिवीजन को तो हम ग्रोथ भी कह सकते हैं। तो यूनिसेलुलर्स में याद रखना, यूनिसेलुलर में हम ग्रोथ और रिप्रोडक्शन को एक ही कंसिडर करते हैं। मतलब व्हाट? दे आर इंक्लूसिव इवेंट, इंक्लूसिव, म्यूचुअली इंक्लूसिव, दोनों को हम एक कंसिडर कर सकते हैं। So in unicellular, remember that growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive events. We call them as inclusive. मतलब हम growth कहें या reproduction कहें, हम ऐसे भी तो कह सकते हैं ना कि like amoeba has grown into 2, cell division हुआ है, so growth हुआ है। Basically यहाँ पे amoeba ने reproduce भी किया है, so it is one and the same. तो let us take some examples of reproduction. अगर हम asexual reproduction का example लें, तो उसमें हम बात करेंगे किसकी होगी? जैसे कि बडिंग होगा। सो वी नो दैट द हाइड्रा गोज बडिंग। हाइड्रा, इट्स लाइक लेट्स से दिस इज अ हाइड्रा, ओके, सो व्हाट विल हैपन आफ्टर सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम? This is the tentacles of Hydra. Hydra will produce a small bird over here, which is known as exogenous budding. After a certain period of time, it will develop tentacles. This will fall down and will generate a new, we can say, Hydra. But इसमें क्या दूसरे parent की requirement हुई? नहीं हुई. तो we can say that this is a clone, and this is known as a budding. So budding is an example of asexual reproduction. Further, you can talk about as fragmentation. फ्रेगमेंटेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? किसी भी चीज का अगर पीस हो, जैसे कि हम बात करते हैं, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट algae, फिर वो मोजेस की जो प्रोटोनेमा एक स्टेज है, जो आपकी टेक्स्ट बुक की एक लाइन है, प्रोटोनेमा ऑफ मोजेस, वो हम प्लांट किंगडम में डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे। तो वो जैसे कि मोजेस की स्टेजेस होती है प्रोटोनेमा ऑफ मोजेस, ब्रायोफाइट्स, देन वी कैन से दैट दूसरा होता है algae, एग्जाम्पल्स में आप ले सकते हो। तो उसके जब फ्रेगमेंट्स होते हैं, लेट्स से दैट दिस इज अ algae, अब इसका जो फ्रेगमेंट हो गया, लेट्स से ये फ्रेगमेंट में डिवाइड हो गया, तो ये हर एक फ्रेगमेंट में से एक algae का बॉडी बन सकता है दिस वे। So this is what you call it as fragmentation. So fragmentation is also a kind of we can say asexual reproduction. Further, if we talk about one more kind is regeneration. What do you mean by regeneration? Regeneration और fragmentation हम synonymously use करते हैं animals के लिए. क्यों? तो भाई regeneration का मतलब क्या होता है? जैसे कि ये starfish है, ठीक है? अब starfish का suppose ये arm cut हो गया, तो it can regenerate its arm. It can regenerate. Similar is an example of we can say the tail of that wall lizard. वो भी उसकी tail को regenerate कर सकती है. दूसरा एक एग्जाम्पल हम रीजनरेशन में ले सकते हैं, वो है प्लैनेरिया. प्लैनेरिया इज अ काइंड ऑफ प्लेटी हेलमेट्स. तो अगर हम प्लैनेरिया की बात करें तो इट इज दिस काइंड ऑफ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म. नाउ सपोज इफ this planaria is cutted into 3 fragments. Let's say this is the first fragment, this is the second, and this is the third fragment. So each of this fragment can produce a new planaria, will divide and will produce a new planaria. So this is what you call it as regeneration. And all this example हमने जो लिए हैं उसमें सिर्फ एक ही parents का involvement है, कोई gametes का involvement नहीं है. So we call it as asexual reproduction. And the babies which are produced as a result of asexual reproduction are known as clones. Remember that they are genetically and morphologically similar. Let's understand sexual reproduction. Now, हमने देखा कि sexual reproduction में तो gametes की जरूरत पड़ती है, right? So gametes are required over here. 2 different gametes. We know that. Here one is a male gamete and another one is a female gamete. Sexual reproduction is always biparental. Biparental का मतलब क्या है? इसमें 2 parents की जरूरत पड़ती है. It is a biparental process. और इनका जो young one होता है, as I told you, it will be called as offspring. तो up till now we have described the different kind of reproduction. That is what you call it as sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. But is reproduction a defining property of living organism? You will think yes कि हर जो बंदा living है वो reproduce कर ही रहा है. But I say no. Reproduction is not a defining property. जरूरी नहीं है कि जिंदा रहने के लिए reproduction compulsory है. Like you know that इसीलिए हम इसे नॉन डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टी कहते हैं. वी कॉल रिप्रोडक्शन एज नॉन डिफाइनिंग प्रॉपर्टीज बिकॉज इट इज नॉट कंपल्सरी दैट टू सर्वाइव वी नीड टू रिप्रोड्यूस. सो इट इज नॉट अ कंपल्सरी इवेंट. Now why it is not compulsory event and what are the things that is making it as a non-defining property? So it is, let us take an example of infertile couple. Let us take the example of infertile couple. जो ऐसे कपल है जो प्रोड्यूस बेबी नहीं प्रोड्यूस कर सकते. इनफर्टाइल कपल गैमीट्स बॉडी में बन रहा है लेकिन उनकी फर्टिलिटी नहीं है, इम्प्लांटेशन नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ भी कोई भी रीजन है वो बेबी प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर रहे, तो क्या वो नॉन लिविंग हो गए? नो, इट इज नॉट सो. सो इनफर्टाइल कपल मेक्स एन एग्जेम्पशन दैट they are also living but they are not, though they are not reproducing. So you can say that infertile couple over here can be taken as example. Then we can say another example is infertile worker honeybees. honeybees में एक टाइप की बी होती है जिसे हम कहते हैं वर्कर बी. तो वो वर्कर बी में जो रिप्रोडक्शन की कैपेसिटी होती ही नहीं है. तो मतलब हम ऐसा तो नहीं कह सकते ना कि उसमें रिप्रोडक्शन की कैपेसिटी नहीं है तो वो नॉन लिविंग हो गई या वो लिविंग नहीं है. सो वी कैन से दैट इन ऑर्डर टू लिव और इन ऑर्डर टू डिफाइन a living organism, reproduction is not necessarily to be taken as a characteristic feature. And which are the 2 things that we have studied according to the textbook जो उस चीज को नॉन लिविंग मतलब वो एग्जेम्पशन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक उसको दे देता है, वो है इनफर्टाइल कपल या फिर आप स्टेराइल कपल कह सकते हो, या फिर वी कैन से इनफर्टाइल जो वर्कर हनी बीज होती है, दे आर नॉट प्रोड्यूसिंग बेबीज बट स्टिल दे आर अलाइव. So we can say that reproduction is not a defining property of living organism.